That's fucking dope. But with the... So were you living in Maroubra when the riots happened?
I was, but I was actually on tour with my mate's band from America, and I was in Melbourne the day it happened. Yeah,
because they were fucking crazy.
They were. But one misconception.
For anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, because some of my listeners are younger, if you go on Google and you look up the Cronulla Riots, they were heaps massive. Was it? It wasn't specifically with the Bra Boys and the Lebanese community.
No, that's what I'm going to say. We weren't involved at all.
Yeah,
it was at Cronulla, and the problem was, right, and this is good that this is going out there, the local surfers and local people of Cronulla just didn't handle their own shit for a long time. So the problem they have, similar to Port Noarlunga, they've got a train line that runs to their beach, right? So for a long time, they had people from all over Sydney go to their beach, right? And that's what the beach is for. It's for everyone. I'm not saying Lebanese people or this and that can't go to the beach. Totally not saying that. But these people would come into the area, act like fucking idiots, and not get checked on it. And it happened for years and years and years. And the locals in Cronulla were all, I was going to say weak something or others, but they should have done something. In Maroubra, right, I saw it happen a lot. Guys would come down, act like fuckwits, they'd get handled, you know? Told either don't come back or don't act like that here. You're not going to get away with it. And it never happened. So that's why Maroubra now, I feel... Well, it's got what's that fucking
gentrified.
Word? Yeah, anyway. But I mean, it was always, if you didn't act like a fuckwit, it was the not best beach to be at, you know what I mean? Anyway, so for years and years, these guys would come into Cronulla, act like fucking idiots, do dumb shit, and they'd get away with it. And they'd probably piss everyone off, but no one did anything about it. So then there was a few tipping points. I think a volunteer lifeguard was punched, and a girl might have been, I'm not sure exactly, a girl was treated inappropriately. And then they started sending texts around, let's reclaim the beach, let's, like, full Aussie bogan shit, you know what I mean? Australia, like. Whereas if they had have just dealt with the individuals, give them a fucking hiding. They deserved it. But the whole Lebanese community isn't banned, you know what I mean? Like, dude, we would have got bashed if we were there. It was anyone not white. You would have died.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how stupid it was.
Yeah.
And it started with good intentions. Like, let's fucking, no, that sounds terrible. They can't reclaim anything. It's not theirs. They're not fucking Aboriginal. That's whose land it is, you know. But anyway, so that was the start of it. Then on that day, it turned to shit. The numbers got bigger and bigger. People started drinking, and then they just started attacking anyone that's not white. That's fucking racist. It's just Aussie bogan mentality.
Yeah, and it boiled over really hard.
Yeah, and the one guy that got put on the newspapers and everything, don't know what I should say here. Let's just say he's not around anymore.
Yeah, right. Fucking.
So anyway, the only involvement we had was the next night, because the fucking media go, oh, it was the Bra Boys. So the Lebanese community who don't fuck around, dude, they're, you know what I mean?
Especially in New South Wales,
they've come from
pretty hectic people.
Fucking, you know what I mean? If you want to go to war, they'll go to war. So they said, all right then, let's go to Maroubra. You know what I mean? And then the next night they fucking tore through Maroubra, smashed every car. One of our mates just happened to be there with his wife having dinner, and he went out to say, I don't know what he went out to do, but him and some of the Brazilian dudes, which I always respect, they backed him up. They got fucking a hiding though. There's probably 50 on 5. And so then the next day, obviously that annoyed us because one, we didn't have anything to do with it. So then you come into our place and do that. So then I'm getting phone calls and everyone's gearing up and getting shit ready. And I'm thinking, it's going to sound like a fucking war. Like, and when I say gearing up, they're getting weapons and because they were ready if they wanted to come back. And I'm like, I was in Melbourne and I was with one of my good mates, Corey, who's in a band called Internal Affairs. And he's like, let's go. I'll come back. And like, and I'm like, well, the tour's on. We can't just leave the tour. And one, I don't want to have anything to do with that kind of fucking shit. It sounded scary.
People are going to die.
I honestly thought people were going to die.
Yeah.
They've got guns for sure. And I assume we might have had some. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Either way, so there's more places fucking. If you
it's
kick
just a terrible,
someone,
and it's all over nothing.
Yeah.
We fucking had nothing to do with it. So luckily, we had a connection with one of the bike gangs. I won't say who. They came down and they squashed it all. And if they didn't, fuck knows what would have happened.
Yeah.
And the police had nothing to do with anything. They're fucking useless, obviously. But yeah, I hate it when we get brought up with the Cronulla Riots shit because it had nothing to do with us. It was just
it was
guys.
depicted that way.
Yeah, of course it was. And for your general person, if you look at a map, Cronulla's nowhere near Maroubra. We had nothing to do with it. If it happened at Maroubra, yeah. It was just the next night where something happened. But even recently, this band we played with had a lyric and it said something about that. And I won't mention who they are. I don't want to give them any more publicity. But I wanted to meet with them to talk, and they obviously didn't.
Was that your thing you posted on your story?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know the law behind the fucking.
I was actually been waiting to cross paths with them for a while, and they weren't there. They whatever.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to do anything.
You were really amped up about that,
dude. It's just like speaking about something you got no idea about, and putting it out to an audience too. So then everyone that hears that thinks again that that's true. It's just fucking stupid. Like I'm aware that there's I'll call it a misconception of what a bra boy is, or a perception, but they've fucking got no idea. I'd love to have a conversation with them. Like I said to you before, get 100 people. You'll have good people, you'll have bad people, and you'll have people that make money doing things that aren't legal, and that's what the Bra Boys is.
To you, are the Bra Boys, would you see that you're like when you were growing up as a gang?
No, not really.
Just a pack of boys who love to surf.
Yeah, just a whole bunch of mates, and like I don't know,
that looking after
I know
each
we
other.
got termed as a gang, and there was some fucking database.
Really?
I don't know if I should say this. Wayno probably doesn't know this, but when he was arrested, I was pulled in because I was working at the airport.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I thought I'd done something at work. But so there's international and domestic. And I don't know if it was the day he was arrested or it would have been or afterwards. It wasn't before, obviously. And they're
because
like,
they thought you were maybe doing dodgies.
I'm at the airport.
I've
I've got an ASIC card. Even now, when I renew my ASIC card, which is like your ID at the airport, mine always takes longer. And I'm
do you
just
still work
suspicious.
at the airport?
I do now, but I'm not on the tarmac.
Yeah, right.
But back when I was in Sydney, so that day, I reckon it was that day from memory, 2 guys come in and they're in uniform. They asked who I was or where I was, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
For anyone who doesn't know, who hasn't seen the podcast, that was my most popular podcast. I did a podcast with Wayne Cleveland. He got done for traffic. He is a bra boy, and he got done trafficking large scale amounts of cocaine into Australia, and he got 16 years jail. So when we did the podcast, I didn't realise how fresh it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, so how long you been out? I was expecting him to say like fucking 10, 12 years. He's like, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I was like, oh fuck, you're fresh. Fresh. That's a lot of time.
No, but yeah, like that whole situation, and fucking for them to come over to me, that's what I mean. That's why I'm like, they must have some sort of...
Oh, yeah.
But when you ask if it was a gang, it's not like we're organised crime fucking and we're kicking money back to each other. No, it's just a bunch of friends. And yeah, some did things, you know what I mean?
We were saying before...
Like any group.
We were saying before that because I was telling you how the movie was massive in my generation, because it was like, it's cool. Like when you depict someone as a criminal or something, it's enticing.
Yeah,
it's
everyone loves that.
It's
shit.
enticing. So, and you were saying how you're not heaps fond of the movie because how it depicts and kids from the area who came from good houses ended up going out and being dickheads.
They thought they had to live up to this expectation of being a fucking idiot, and that's the way Macca made the movie. And I'm not speaking on his behalf, but he probably feels the same as me. I feel like it influenced the younger generation negatively. You know what I mean? Whereas, especially by the time that come out, I'd turned the corner for me, and most of my friends were the same. They weren't about fighting and being a fucking idiot. And that's the thing with Maroubra. Like, still to this day, if you go there and be a fuckwit, you're probably going to get bashed. You know, and possibly not. But I mean, that's the same anywhere. I'd like to think. Like you.
If you're a dickhead in fucking Morphett Vale, you're probably
for
going
sure,
to get bashed.
Yeah, and that's that's life. So that's all it ever really was. But there was undertones of other people that were doing more serious things. But that doesn't mean that most of us had a clue what was going on. I was just a fucking kid. You know what I mean?